All right, we are live. Cardinals at Phillies. It's going to be Nootbaar, Wynn, Donovan, Arenado, Contreras, Herrera, Pages, Walker, and Barrero. So Barrero playing center today, which means it is Victor Scott's day off. And Pages is behind the plate. So we also don't have Burleson in the lineup. So an interesting DH decision in Herrera and an interesting center fielder in Barrero. Those are the only two we haven't seen a whole lot of recently. Obviously, no Baker, any right-handed hitter, no Gorman. Yeah, that's the order today. It's going to be against a left-handed pitcher, so that makes a lot of sense to get Barrero in there over Scott. Obviously, the Phillies, you look, it's Realmuto behind the plate, Bohm at third, Sosa at second, Turner at short, Harper at first with Schwarber as the DH. And the outfield is going to be Wilson, Rojas, and Castellanos. So those are the matchups here for the first inning. It's going to be Cristopher Sanchez for the Phillies. So I'm going to pull him up, see if we can grab some numbers. He is a little bit below average on the year with 0 pitching value. Has really good peripheral stats in expected ERA and expected batting average. The walk rate is about average, and the strikeout rate is above average, so you can expect a good start. He has a 2.89 ERA. And the game's about to begin. It'll be Lars Nootbaar first. I'll show you his stats real quick. There's Sanchez, what I was just mentioning. So doesn't get barreled a lot. Does get a lot of ground balls. Strikes out a lot of hitters, so he's been very, very good. Nootbaar hitting .244 on the year, 786 OPS, one of the best walk rates in baseball. He'll be the leadoff hitter today. And then Donovan's still hitting third, so we're sticking with the same top of the order, even against a lefty. But we do stack righties on the bottom part of the lineup, from Arenado at 4 all the way down to Barrero at 9. All right, the scoreboard should be coming up soon. First pitch from Sanchez to Nootbaar. Here we go. And we are underway with a pitch at the top of the zone, called a ball. 1-0 on Nootbaar. Second pitch from Sanchez. Right down the middle, but Nootbaar swung right over it. It was a sinker, so it dropped below the barrel. 1-1. Nootbaar's played in 40 games this year, has accumulated 1.1 WAR. 1-1 pitch. Bottom of the zone, fouled off, 1-2. So Nootbaar is kind of on pace for somewhere around 4 WAR, if he can keep it up at this rate. Not bad at all. The 1-2 pitch from Sanchez. Outside, hard hit ball to the right field side, but it's caught by Harper. And there's one out in the top of the first, so Nootbaar reached out to poke that one, but didn't quite get enough of it, and Harper was able to range back and make the play. It is Weston, Wilson in left, Johan Rojas in center, Castellanos in right, Bohm, Turner, Sosa, and Harper on the infield, and Realmuto behind the plate. Sosa's a former Cardinal. Here's the first pitch to Mason Wynn. Slider right down the middle for a strike, 0-1. Wynn missed some time with an injury earlier in the year, but he's been great since he's come back and hit in that 2 slot in the lineup. Here's the 0-1 pitch. A little low with the sinker, 1-1. Cardinals have Matthew Liberatore on deck today, so we'll check out his stats between the innings. As here's the 1-1 pitch from Mason Wynn, or to Mason Wynn from Sanchez. It is low with the sinker, 2-1. Mason Wynn has 3 home runs in 30 games this year. The 2-1 pitch. Sinker down the middle, popped foul and out of play, 2-2. Wynn's already accumulated 1 WAR in those 30 games, so he's another guy who can easily get to 4 WAR on the year, especially with the defense he plays at shortstop. Hitting .252 with a .737 OPS. The 2-2, way outside and into the backstop. 3-2 on Wynn. So nobody on, 1 out in the first. Full count on Wynn, and Brendan Donovan is standing on deck. The 3-2 pitch to Wynn. Swing and a miss on a sinker up and away, and that's a strikeout for Sanchez. So down goes Wynn, and with 2 outs, here comes Donovan. It was a really, really good pitch from Sanchez. The sinker moved away from Wynn, up and away, barely caught the outside of the zone, so there was almost nothing Wynn could have done with that pitch. And here is the first pitch to Donovan. Up and in, it hit him, and that's going to be a hit by pitch. So Donovan is on base. Didn't look like it did any damage, just hit off the back shoulder area. He is perfectly fine. He'll take his base, and here comes Arenado. It was a little scary. Might leave a mark, but nothing huge. So the Cardinals have a base runner. And Arenado is at the plate. Here's the first pitch. Inside, hard hit ball deep to center field, but Rojas ranges back and makes the play. So we are midway through 1. Cardinals reached on a hit by pitch, and that is all. We go to the bottom of the first to watch Matthew Liberatore face the top of the Phillies order. It'll be Turner, Harper, and Schwarber when we come back in the bottom of the first. So let's go ahead and take a look at Liberatore this year. So Liberatore's been very good. 91st percentile in the pitching value, has 7 runs on that stat. Very low walk rate at 95th percentile, and a great expected ERA at 2.79. Gets a lot of chases. And the strikeout rate is above average. So if you combine an above average strikeout rate with a very, very low walk rate, you get the 0.95 whip that he's been working with. His ERA is about 3, and whip is sub 1. So that is all you're really looking for. His strategy that's worked for him has pretty much just been pound the zone, let the defense do their jobs, and that has worked out very well for him. 71st percentile in ground ball rate. That's pretty good. Slider 26% of the time, 4-seamer about the same amount. So it's slider and 4-seamer primarily, and then he goes to sinker, cutter, changeup, curveball. Each of them mixed in pretty well. Curveball by far the least. And here you can see that pitch percentage over the years. He's brought the 4-seamer down and the slider up, and that has helped him out a lot. Pull air percentage is way down this year, which is great for him. His batted balls staying on the ground. It's very important. Looks like his curveball's been great this year when he has thrown it. And then the cutter and the slider have also been very, very good. But they give curveballs a -1 value anyway, so. Oh, this is just vertical movement, so never mind. His best pitch has been his fastball and his changeup. His changeup this year. Slider last year. Anyway, the game's probably back by now. Let's watch it. Yep, 0-2 on Trey Turner, so I just missed a couple of pitches. My bad. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Trey Turner. Up and away, 1-2. So that was the four seam. Turner's been good this year with 2 strikes, hitting .221 in these situations, hitting .310 overall on the season. The 1-2 pitch. In the dirt, nice scoop by Pajes, but that doesn't matter. 2-2. Two pitch. In the dirt, but he chases the slider and down goes Turner. So 1 down on a strikeout already. And that will bring up Bryce Harper in the first. Harper batting .237 on the year. First pitch. Below the zone with the cutter, but he swung right on top of it. 0-1. The 0-1 pitch is in there for a strike. Down and away with the sinker. 0-2. Couple good pitches from Liberatore. Harper has a .782 OPS this year. That's pretty low for him. 7 home runs in 40 games. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss on a curveball outside, and down goes Harper in 3 pitches. Great job by Liberatore. 2 batters, 2 strikeouts. He's gone up 0-2 against both guys. And has worked a strikeout in both at-bats. So here comes Kyle Schwarber with nobody on and 2 outs in the first. Schwarber hitting .269 with a .997 OPS. First pitch, right down the middle, fouled back, 0-1. Schwarber has 1.4 WAR over 40 games this year. A .998 OPS from those 14 home runs. The 0-1 pitch, a little inside, 1-1. If there's one stat you'd expect Schwarber to double Harper in, probably wouldn't be home runs, but so far this year, that's what it's been. It might be home runs. That's kind of what Schwarber's known for, but not hitting double the amount of Harper. Last night, Schwarber hit a couple of homers. He's tied for the big league lead with 14, along with Judge. So hopefully he wasted all that power in Cleveland and is too exhausted to do it here. The 1-2 pitch. Up and away, 2-2. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Schwarber. Inside, ground ball to second. Donovan is there, and that's the third out. So a 1-2-3 inning for Liberatore. And we go to the second, still tied, 0-0. It'll be Contreras, Herrera, and Pajes for the Cardinals. So let's get an update on Contreras after he did homer yesterday on Mother's Day. He's up at 56th percentile, finally positive in that batting value discussion. 80th percentile in the expected WOBA. The stats continue to climb. The OPS sitting at 763. Last year it was at 848, but it is climbing this year. Let's check out Ivan Herrera. He is amongst the league leaders in every peripheral stat, but obviously he's not qualified. Only played a few games this year. 33 plate appearances, 4 home runs, 1.317 OPS. Very exciting player to watch swing the bat. He's only 24 years old, so that's very valuable. I didn't actually realize how young Herrera was. And then Pajes, I believe, has been league average. Maybe a little bit below. Yep. 35th percentile, -1 batting value, 674 OPS. But still provides some positive value as a defensive catcher. And that's what the Cardinals need him to do. So I don't mind some hitting struggles at catcher. Here comes Contreras. First pitch from Sanchez is a changeup low and in for a strike. 0-1. This is one of those games where it feels like it's going to be low scoring from the very beginning. But hopefully the Cardinals can change that early against Sanchez. Here's the 0-1. Changeup right down the middle, hit hard, deep to left field and off the wall. Contreras will turn it into a double and lead off the inning at second base. So a great swing from Contreras, and the Cardinals have their first hit of the game. And a runner in scoring position with nobody out. That was just a changeup low and in, the exact same pitch he just threw. Contreras was ready for it that time. And smoked it to left center field, off the State Farm sign, at the wall. And Contreras is on second. Here is the first pitch to Herrera. Low and in with the slider, 1-0. So this is where it could get frightening for Sanchez. Herrera is a great hitter, has a runner in scoring position, has the platoon advantage. Here's the 1-0. Above the zone with the sinker, 2-0. Contreras continues to heat up this season. Another huge double from him. And here is the 2-0 pitch. Herrera rockets it foul the other way, 2-1. I wonder if he's still using the Brendan Donovan bat or if he's adjusted back. Here is the 2-1 pitch from Sanchez. Instead, Herrera calls time. Sanchez took a minute to deliver, so Herrera wanted to call time. I think that makes sense. Herrera is 5 for 11 with runners in scoring position this year. Does have 2 homers in those situations. Puts him at 10 RBIs in just under 10 games. Here is the 2-1 pitch to Herrera. Inside, gets called a strike on the sinker, 2-2. It's an unfortunate call for Herrera. That did not look like a strike. Either way, Contreras is on second. Here is the 2-2 from Sanchez to Herrera. Low and in with the sinker, 3-2. On deck is Pedro Pajes, the Cardinal catcher. So they might be being a little bit careful with Herrera. But here is the 3-2 pitch to Ivan. Swing and a miss on a changeup low and away, and down goes Herrera. That was a great pitch from Sanchez. Changeup outside. Drifted away from the bat, and Herrera was not ready for it. So 1 out in the second, and that'll bring up Pedro Pajes. In those extra inning scenarios, you really want your guy to put it in play. And so it's unfortunate that Herrera was unable to move the runner over. It's kind of the same thing as those extra inning scenarios because he had the runner on second with nobody out. But now you can't score him with a sac fly or anything like that, so we're going to need a hit from a guy like Pajes. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Sanchez. Caught the outside corner with a changeup, 1-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss on a changeup in the dirt. Pretty bad chase there, but great pitch from Sanchez. And it's 1-2. Pages has been good with runners in scoring position. He is 8 for 24. That's a .333 average with 1 home run in these situations. The 1-2 pitch from Sanchez to Pages is in the dirt with a changeup, 2-2. Sanchez checks on Contreras, gets set, and delivers. Swing and a miss on a changeup low and away, and it's another changeup strikeout for Sanchez. That's 2 in a row, and that will bring up Jordan Walker with 2 outs, and Contreras still on second base. Really, really good pitch. You could see Pages thought it was going to be the fastball, and swung right above it. First pitch to Walker. Outside, 1-0. Walker has one of those builds that makes you think he will crush left-handed pitching. I'm not sure if we've seen it yet this season, but I believe he's capable. Here is the 1-0. Up and away, swing and a miss, 1-1. That was a sinker a little out of the zone. Got the chase. And the count is even at 1. The 1-1 from Sanchez gets the call with the sinker below the zone, 1-2. Walker really didn't like that. Stepped out of the box. Really tough call. Pretty good frame job there by Real Muto. It's unfortunate for Walker that he's so tall. He gets those same unfortunate low strike calls that Judge gets. And here is the 1-2 pitch to Walker. Change up way outside, 2-2. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss on a changeup below the zone. Feels like he took the bat out of Walker's hands by calling that low pitch a strike. Nothing he could do about that, but did chase a changeup on that last pitch, and we go to the bottom of the second. Still scoreless. So Castellanos, Real Muto, and Bohm. Let's see if Bohm's got it going recently. I haven't checked. I would imagine Bohm's figured something out. They're still starting him every day. So Bohm sitting at a .607 OPS. He's 10th percentile with -6 batting value. Good expected batting average and average exit velo, but not a great expected slug or WOBA. So that's a really strange thing. It must be some type of... I don't even know how you get a bad expected slug. I want to say it's like a launch angle problem, but expected batting average takes that into account. So must just be a directional issue. Last year he had a lot of the same peripherals, but the slug was higher. You can see he didn't strike out a whole lot last year. This year, he's striking out a little bit more, walking even less. 607 OPS, so we don't really know exactly what's going on with Bohm, but He hasn't been great. Real Muto sitting at a 703. He's at a -3 batting value. But he's been great at pop time and caught stealings, as you might expect from him. And then there's Castellanos. I'm going to go back 10 seconds because I missed one pitch, and it just so happened that that did affect the game a little bit. It was the first pitch. It was a fastball right down the middle to Castellanos. He pulled it into left field for a single. So there's one on with nobody out for Real Muto. Here's the first pitch to Real Muto from Liberatore. Up and in, 1-0. The 1-0 pitch. Low and away, hard hit to center field. But Barrero is there, and there's one out in the second. And that'll bring up Alec Boehm, the man who's been struggling a lot this season. He is the Phillies' third baseman. Hitting .607 OPS this year, .248 batting average. First pitch fouled back above the screen, 0-1. So Boehm in 37 games is listed at 0 WAR, so he's probably been pretty good on defense. Does have 1 home run. Here is the 0-1 pitch from Liberatore. Slider right down the middle, hard hit ball to center field, deep but caught up against the wall by Barrero. And the ballpark contains that one, so there's 2 outs in the second for Edmundo Sosa. So Castellanos is still on first base. And Edmundo Sosa, the former Cardinal, who's starting at second base today, steps up to the plate. Hitting .333 this season with an .802 OPS. Cardinals are well above every other team in outs above average on the year at 24. That's 10 more than anyone else. The Astros are second with 14, so by far the best defense in baseball. Let's see if that defense can help Liberatore deal with Sosa. Here's the 0-1. Low and away, fouled back, 0-2. The 0-2 pitch from Liberatore. Chopped foul. That was a curveball below the zone. Great job by Sosa to go down there and keep it in play. Stay alive. Liberatore at pitch number 22 of the game, so not very many. It's just the second inning. Here's the 0-2. Fouled off again by Sosa, so he's trying to stay alive. Does have a 42.3% strikeout rate with 2 strikes, but above league average, hitting over 200. Exactly 217 with 2 strikes this season. 0-2. Fouled back again. So a great at-bat from Sosa so far. Really good 2-strike approach, extending the at-bat, making Liberatore work. Castellanos still at first base. Here's the 0-2 from Liberatore. Top of the zone, grounded over to Arenado. He makes a great play on a hard hit ball. And down goes Sosa, so we'll go to the third. Still scoreless after 2. This was a rocket off the bat, but Arenado made it look easy. So it'll be Barrero, Nootbaar, and Wynn for the Cardinals. So Kind of that same Victor Scott approach, Barrero being that fast center fielder. And then you have Nootbaar and Wynn. So let's see how long Barrero's been in the majors. I think he played a couple seasons. Yeah, 2022 to 2023, he was somewhere else. He's 27 years old now, not qualified this year, but does have 1 home run and a .231 average for an .824 OPS in just 14 plate appearances. He was the player of the game for the Cardinals a few games ago. Well, that was a couple weeks ago at this point. But he has never had a season where he finished as an excellent hitter. So this might be his best year of his career so far. Definitely is. Hopefully he keeps it up. We look at Nootbaar. 91st percentile, 10 batting run value. A lot of good peripheral stats. Doesn't strike out. Does walk a lot. Really good bat speed. Good hard hit percentage. Great average exit velo. And the OPS sitting at 786, which is exactly where it finished last season. So he is who he is. The 417 slug sits right where he's been for the last 2 years. But the on base is a little bit up this year. It's crazy that last season he had the same OPS, but they graded him so much lower over the course of the season. But you can tell he's been playing well this year. First pitch to Barrero was a swing and a miss on a slider low and in, 0-1. Here is the second pitch from Sanchez to Barrero. Top of the zone, called a strike, 0-2. The 0-2 pitch. Change up below the zone, 1-2. One-two pitch, fouled away. As we were just looking at, Barrero has an .824 OPS with 1 home run in just 7 games this year. 0.2 WAR accumulated. That's more than Bohm. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Sanchez to Barrero. Inside, grounded to second base. Good play by Sosa. And that's the first out of the third. So here comes Lars Nootbaar at the top of the Cardinal order. Cardinals only got 1 base runner first time through the order. That was Contreras on his double off the wall. So hopefully they have more luck the second time through. The first pitch to Nootbaar is hit the other way for a base hit. So Nootbaar already having better luck. Goes the other way. And the Cardinals have a base runner here in the third. That will bring up Mason Wynn. It was just a slider at the top of the zone. Nootbaar waited for it to travel. Didn't try to do too much. Went the other way. And took his hit based on the defense's alignment. So 1 on, 1 out for Mason Wynn. And here's the first pitch to him. Hard hit ball to right field, but the center fielder makes a running catch. That's Rojas. And there are 2 outs now in the third for Brendan Donovan. Donovan did reach on a hit by pitch back in the first inning. So I guess Cardinals did have a couple of base runners in the game so far. So far, it's been Donovan, it's been Nootbaar, and Contreras who have reached base. Here is the first pitch to Donovan. In there for a strike with a slider, 0-1. Donovan hitting .318 with a 1.6 WAR on the season. Here is the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss on a slider way low and away, and it's 0-2. So Donovan will have to protect here. He has an .838 OPS on the year, but those numbers come down in 2-strike counts. Let's see what Sanchez can do. The 0-2 pitch. In there for strike 3, and with the 40th pitch of the game for Sanchez, he records the third out. The Cardinals will strand Nootbaar, and we go to the bottom of the third, still scoreless. It will be Wilson, Rojas, and Turner for the Phillies in the third. This is not who I was thinking of. There we go. Weston Wilson. Wow. He's been excellent this year, and he was excellent in 2023 as well. But he wasn't qualified either year. Just hit the ball really hard when he was at the big league level. 99.8 average exit velo in 10 at-bats this season. Has not walked yet, has homered. 3 out of 10, 300 on base, 600 slug. Pretty good hitting. And last year had an .836 OPS as well, so always a positive hitter. Has Weston Wilson been. He was drafted in 2016 by the Brewers. He's 30 years old, but he is a good swinger. Check out Rojas. Rojas at 707 OPS. He was a good hitter a couple of years ago with 1 batting value. Also a really, really good outfielder. We saw that already. A couple good running catches. He's only 24 years old. Really fast. Good outs above average at 9. That's 95th percentile. And he's doing it again this year. So very scary center fielder. Maybe a little below average at the plate, but great on defense. And here's Weston Wilson. As Liberatore misses with his second straight pitch, it's 2-0 on Wilson. This is a guy who can hit the ball hard. Here is pitch 27 for Liberatore on the game. It is in there for a strike, 2-1. So it'll be Wilson, Rojas, and Turner this inning for the Phillies, at least. And the cutter finds the zone against Wilson. It's 2-2. That one was pretty much right down the middle, ended up coming a little low and in. Wilson batting from the right-handed side. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss on a slider, and down goes Wilson. So there's 1 out now in the third. And that will bring up Johan Rojas for the Phillies. So the game is living up to the expected low scoring total, with Liberatore and Sanchez going toe-to-toe so far through a couple of innings. Here's the pitch. Popped up, center field. Easy play for Barrero. And that's out number 2. So that'll bring up Trey Turner with 2 outs and nobody on. Turner does have a high batting average at .308, but the OPS at .759. So Just a little bit above average for Trey Turner. Well below his personal average, which I would imagine would be a little higher in the 700s, closer to 800 OPS. And he was excellent on Team USA last WBC in 2022. Hopefully the Team USA can make another good run in the upcoming WBC. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Liberatore. Low and in, pulled through for a base hit. So Trey Turner able to get a hit here for the Phillies. And he'll reach base for the first time today. So there's one on with 2 outs for Bryce Harper. If Liberatore can get Harper here, this could almost be a blessing in disguise because it breaks up that top of the order. You don't have to deal with Schwarber, Harper, and Castellanos back to back. You could just go Schwarber, Castellanos, then Real Muto. So hopefully we can get that positive outcome. Here's the first pitch to Harper. In there for a strike with the sinker away, 0-1. Two hits for each team so far in the game. Harper is 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Here's the 0-1 pitch, up and in, 1-1. That one almost hit him, but it was still much lower than where his head would have been, so I'm sure he doesn't take any offense to that pitch location. Here's pitch 35 of the game from Liberatore. Check swing, he did not go. 2-1. Liberatore is set. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Bryce Harper. In the dirt, 3-1. Ball hopped away, but Turner did not give it a try, as Pajes was still on top of things with a good block. So it's 3-1 on Harper with Kyle Schwarber on deck. This is one of those where you feel like you got to throw a strike, so hopefully it's a good pitch. Here's the 3-1 pitch to Harper. Low and away, that's ball 4. So Harper did not swing, and now there are 2 on with 2 outs for Kyle Schwarber. So now the situation's getting a little scary. All Liberatore needs to do is get this out, which is what happens most of the time, but when it doesn't, Schwarber usually hits it over the wall. So very high risk here. 2 on, 2 out. Here in the third. First pitch from Liberatore to Kyle Schwarber. Up and away, fouled back. That one's actually popped up to left field, and Nootbaar is there. He struggled to find that one, and so did the cameraman. So my apologies, but we are through 3. Still scoreless. Headed to the top of the 4th. It'll be Arenado, Contreras, and Herrera, if my screen is correct. Yep. So, where should we go now? I guess we should check out Arenado. Obviously, he's still a great defender, 5 outs above average. The peripheral stats are nowhere near where they used to be, but he still doesn't strike out. He's walking a good amount this year. Got the strikeout to walk ratio almost even. And his OPS is higher than it was in 2023 or 2024. So this is what Arenado is at this point. Hits home runs to left field and left field only. Let's see, how long has that been the case? I mean, even in his MVP candidate year in 2022, all of his home runs were dead left field, dead pole. I don't know when the last time he hit an opposite field home run was. I mean, dead center here in 2020. And in 2019, he was hitting opposite field home runs, so that's the answer. You can see the power begin to decline. Since he joined the Cardinals, he's really only hit home runs to left field. In 2023, he had a couple to center field, but very rare. Either way, still a very good player. Well above average OPS. Gets on base, plays a fantastic defense. Can't ask for anything more out of a third baseman. And he will lead off this inning. So here he comes. Sanchez is on the mound. He is ready. First pitch of the fourth. In the dirt with the slider, 1-0. So Arenado ahead in the count. The 1-0 pitch to Arenado. Above the zone with the slider, 2-0 now. Arenado already accumulated 1.4 WAR so far this year, but only has 4 home runs to show for it. Does have a line out back in the first, the 2-0 pitch. Low and in on the sinker, check swing. He did go around, 2-1. 2-1 pitch to Arenado. Bottom of the zone, pulled, foul, 2-2. Nobody on, nobody out. The 2-2 pitch from Sanchez to Arenado. In the dirt, 3-2. Cardinals are tied for the best record in May so far. They're 8-2. They've won 8 games in a row. Phillies are also on that list, along with the Tigers at 7-3. Here is the 3-2 pitch. Inside, ball 4. Did he go around? No, he didn't. And Arenado reaches on a walk to start the fourth. So that'll bring up Wilson Contreras, who hit a double to left center. Off the wall, his first time up. Contreras has really been heating up recently, and we're hoping to see it continue here. Arenado's OPS sits at 777, Contreras at 778. Here is the first pitch. Contreras thought about bunting, didn't get a strike call, even though that pitch was in the zone, so that's good for Contreras. It's 1-0. Arenado on first. Here in the fourth inning. The 1-0 pitch to Contreras. He went around, that's a strike, 1-1. Contreras thinking about bunting here. Very, very weird push bunt approach through the first 2 pitches, as they are leaving him a massive, massive hole on the right side of the infield. Here's the 1-1. Low and in. High fly ball to right field. Rojas drifts back and makes the grab. And Arenado is going to tag from first to second and get thrown out. So there are 2 outs in the fourth. We're going to have to take a look at that one. Arenado thinks he was in there safely. And the Cardinals do want to challenge, so a risk that may pay off for Arenado with a clever slide. So he might be able to get into scoring position for Herrera. Let's take a look. It was a good throw from Rojas coming off of a back pedal. Was able to get it to Turner at short. But Arenado thought he got his hand under that tag. It does look good. Definitely didn't get tagged in the left hand, but we're not quite sure about the right based on that angle. I always wonder what they're talking about when they are having discussions, like Turner and Arenado are having right now. Arenado doesn't think he was tagged. So the left hand was not tagged. He did do the swim move. So Arenado is definitely safe. You can see it from the multiple angles. He made it to second base. Just gotta hope that the umps take a good look. And they do, so the call is overturned. Arenado is safe at second. So 1 on with a runner in scoring position, with 1 out in the 4th. Great heads-up base running by Arenado to see Rojas backpedaling, even though the throw was still perfect. Great slide, and Arenado is in scoring position for Herrera. So here is the first pitch to Herrera from Sanchez. Low and in, grounded foul on the changeup, 0-1. Herrera's been very good this year in a very limited sample, just 8 games, but .345 average, 4 home runs, and 0.8 WAR. Here's the 0-1. Low and in with the sinker, 1-1. Pedro Pajes is on deck. Pajes does not have a very good on-base percentage. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Herrera. Inside, fouled off his foot, 1-2. Pajes has a sub-300 on-base percentage at about .289. But the OPS is still at .667 because when he gets a hold of one, it can go for extra bases. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Sanchez to Herrera. Change up low and away, fouled back, still 1-2. So Arenado cleverly took second after the Contreras fly out, and he awaits in scoring position. The 1-2 pitch to Herrera is a slider below the zone, 2-2. We'll see if Herrera can turn on one here. The 2-2 pitch to Ivan. Sinker at the bottom of the zone, fouled off, still 2-2. In one of the games early in the year against the left-handed pitcher, Herrera hit 3 home runs in a single game. It was a pretty incredible performance with Brendan Donovan's bat. 2-2 pitch to Herrera is in the dirt, 3-2. Timeout called by Herrera, so Sanchez will have to wait. So Arenado takes his lead. Here is the 3-2 pitch to Herrera. Fouled off at the bottom of the zone again, still 3-2. So a great at-bat from Herrera, regardless of how it ends, making Sanchez work. He is up at 57 pitches on the day, and at least 7 for this at-bat. The 3-2 pitch to Herrera. Up and away for ball 4. The ball scoots away from the catcher, and Arenado advances to third. So the Cardinals now have runners at the corners with 1 out. And that's the equivalent of a hard hit single, essentially. So here comes Pedro Pajes with a chance to drive in a run. All he has to do is get the ball to the outfield. It is Pajes at the plate with Jordan Walker on deck. Arenado on third, Herrera on first. The First pitch to Pedro Pajes. Right down the middle with the sinker, 0-1. Pajes is 0 for 1 with a strikeout so far. Sanchez has recorded strikeouts in half of his recorded outs this game. Here is the 0-1 pitch to Pajes. Inside, 1-1. He's had 4 flyouts and popouts, 1 groundout, and 5 strikeouts in this game. And he's up above 60 pitches now in this 4th inning with 1 out recorded. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Pajes. Grounded to the left-hand side. Bohm will go to second. They're going to try to turn 2, but the ball is thrown away and the Cardinals score a run. So the Cardinals now lead 1-0 as Arenado comes around to score. And Pedro Pajes delivers with a fielder's choice to second base. And the Cardinals lead 1-0. That was a very high chopper, but it went straight to third base, so Bohm thought he might have a chance at a double play. Sosa just threw an awful throw above the head of Harper, and they were unable to turn it. So it is 1-0 St. Louis, and here comes Jordan Walker. First pitch, outside 1-0. So now Pajes is on first base, nobody else is on base, and there are 2 outs. Walker is 0 for 1 with a strikeout today. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Walker. Fouled off his arm somehow, 1-1. That might have hurt a little bit. It bounced up off the dirt into his arm. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Walker. Below the zone, 2-1. Jordan Walker hitting 185 on the year, a 510 OPS for negative 0.6 WAR. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Sanchez. Inside, 3-1. That one was way inside. So Walker has a good opportunity to draw a walk. The 3-1 pitch from Sanchez. Line out from the bottom of the zone, and we will go to the bottom of the 4th. It was a sinker right at the bottom of the zone. Walker put the barrel to it, hit it pretty hard up the middle, but the second baseman was there. Today that is Edmundo Sosa, and we go to the bottom of the 4th, 1-0 St. Louis. So it'll be Castellanos, Realmuto, and Bohm for the Phillies. That's the same guys who hit in the 2nd inning. It is 4-5-6. So one thing we didn't do is check out Castellanos last time. I am interested in his career splits against left-handed pitching. He has a 747 OPS so far this season. Puts him just above last year. Although last year he was better compared to the rest of the league in batting value. So let's hop over here and get these platoon splits for Castellanos. Let's just do last year. So last season, where is the platoon? There they are. Last season, had an 830 OPS against left-handed pitching and a 711 against righties. So he's been much better against lefties. 10 of his home runs came in about half of the games against lefties, while 13 came against righties in way more games. So that's not a good sign. Hopefully, Liberatore can keep it in the ballpark. Cardinals and the Phillies are tied for the fewest games missed this season due to injury. So pretty healthy orders so far this year, and it's worked out for a positive record for both teams. Here is the 0-1 pitch to Castellanos. He reaches out and drives it to center field, but it's an easy play for Barrero, and there's one out in the fourth. So Liberatore has really settled in well here. That was pitch 40 on the game, and he already has one out in the fourth inning. And that will bring up JT Realmuto, hitting second in this fourth inning. He's been the catcher for the Phillies for a while now. Here's the first pitch. Right down the middle for a strike. 0-1. He's batting .240 with 3 home runs on the season. 12 RBIs. Here's the 0-1. Right down the middle again. 0-2. So he just took 2 pitches right down the middle. No swing. And he's behind in the count now, 0-2. The 0-2 pitch from Liberatore. Up and away, 1-2. That was a slider. Just could not bend it back into the zone. And Realmuto is going to call his timeout. Liberatore is ready. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Realmuto. Hold foul. Still 1-2. Realmuto has 100 stolen bases on his career. Congrats on that milestone whenever he got there. Sitting at 171 career homers, so he should reach 200 by the end of it, ideally. Although he only has 3 this season, so if he continues at this pace, maybe not. The 1-2 pitch. Pulled down the line. Fair. So it's going to be into the corner. Extra bases for JT Realmuto, and he has a double in this fourth inning. So there's a couple more total bases for you. A runner on second, and that will bring up Alec Boehm with a runner in scoring position and 1 out in the fourth. That was a really good pitch from Liberatore. It was well below the zone. Dropped a slider down there, and Realmuto did not care. He just went down and got it like a golfer. So Realmuto is on second. Here's the first pitch to Boehm. In there for a strike with a sinker at the bottom of the zone. 0-1. Boehm having a tough year, but the average is still at 247, so 1 in 4 times. He's probably getting a hit. Here's the 0-1. Curveball in the dirt, 1-1. Boehm is 0 for 1 on the day with a line out back in the second inning. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Liberatore. Up and away, fouled away, 1-2. Boehm has been a little bit better with runners in scoring position, hitting .282 with 1 home run, which puts him at 12 RBIs in 39 opportunities. The 1-2 pitch to Boehm. Drops a curveball in the dirt, 2-2. Boehm is ready. Pitch 50 from Liberatore. The 2-2. Up and above the zone. 3-2 now on Boehm. So if we use the 100 pitch count limit as a gauge, Liberatore might go 7 innings at most today. Here's the 3-2. Instead, we have a timeout by Pajes. All right, Liberatore is ready. The 3-2 to Bohm. Curveball at the top of the zone. Popped over to second base. A glove flip by Donovan, and he gets the out. What a play by Donovan. Incredible. He charged in, reached down with his glove, and had to use a glove flip to get Bohm, and that is another out recorded by this great Cardinals defense. He was playing up the middle. That ball was hit to a standard second base position where the defense was shifted away from, but Donovan made up for it with a fantastic play. And there are 2 down now in the 4th for Edmundo Sosa. That play did move Real Muto to third. First pitch, ground ball to third. Arenado bobbles it, but turns and throws and cannot get Sosa, and he has an infield single and an RBI, and it's tied 1-1. So a good job by Sosa, putting the ball in play down the line, and Arenado unable to make the play. And the game is tied at 1. Arenado messed up a backhanded grab there, and it will cost the team. I don't know if you would call it an error, but Arenado definitely considers it one, as you'd expect him to make that play every time. So 2 outs. Sosa on first for Weston Wilson in the 4th inning of a 1-1 ball game. First pitch from Liberatore to Wilson. Low right down the middle, smoked to right field, and caught by Jordan Walker. It looked like it was hit deep, but he got under it a little bit, and Walker was able to make the catch at the track. So we go to the 5th inning, tied at 1. So each team scraped together a run in the 4th. Each of them also scored on an infield ground ball. So very similar game so far. Sosa had the errant throw in the top of the 4th, and he made up for it with a nice ground ball to Arenado in the bottom half. So this game has been very, very even. Both pitchers doing about the same stuff, although Sanchez has thrown more pitches than Liberatore. Let's see. Pitch count. Liberatore has thrown 53. Sanchez has thrown 66. So Liberatore might be able to go one more inning than Sanchez. And the Cardinals will have Barrero, Nootbaar, and Wynn in the 5th. So we can check out Mason Wynn. Wynn has a 737 OPS this year. That's higher than last season now. Above average in the batting value with 2. Great outs above average with 4. 76th percentile in sprint speed. He's been fast. Doesn't chase a whole lot. Walks plenty, but also strikes out a good amount, 25.4% of the time. Last season, he did not strike out nearly as much. He was at 17%. So that's one thing he could improve this year. But he's walked more to make up for it. So we're looking at probably one more time through the order for Sanchez. Oh, we're a little bit behind. Here's the first pitch to Barrero. Outside, 1-0. Second pitch from Sanchez to Barrero. He is in there with a changeup at the top of the zone, 1-1. And the 1-1 pitch is low and in, 2-1 on Barrero. So now we are live. I'm going to let that load. There we go. Barrero is 0 for 1 today with a ground out. The 2-1 pitch, low and away, ground ball to second. And it's another ground out for Barrero, 1 away in the 5th for Lars Nootbaar. Nootbaar is 1 for 2 today. He hit a ball the opposite way last time. Took a sinker there, 1-0. Second pitch to Newt. He is in there for a strike. It was a slider. Went from inside to down the middle. It's a pitch Nootbaar could drive if he saw it coming, although he likes those maybe a little bit higher. Here is the 1-1 pitch from Sanchez. Outside, he rolls over it, but it's off the glove of Sanchez. Sosa can't make a glove flip, and that's an infield single for Lars Nootbaar, so he's 2 for 3 today. Probably a mistake by the pitcher to make contact with that ball. Either way, that's a single for Nootbaar, and here comes Win. So Sanchez poked that ball away from Edmundo Sosa, and there was nothing Sosa could have done. Nootbaar on first. 1 out in the inning, and here comes Mason Wynn. He is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a line out today. Took the first pitch. It's a sinker below the zone, 1-0. Sosa playing up the middle here. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Win. A little bit outside, 2-0. The 2-0 pitch. Outside again, 3-0 on Win. So Brendan Donovan waiting on deck. 1 on, 1 out in the 5th. Mason Wynn at the plate with a 3-0 count. 3-0 pitch. In the dirt, ball 4. So a 4-pitch walk from Sanchez to Win. And there are 2 on with 1 out for Brendan Donovan. That is huge for the Cardinals. Big opportunity coming up. It'll be Donovan and Arenado. There's just 1 out in the 5th inning of a 1-1 ball game. We take a quick look around the league. The Brewers are trailing 4-0 against Cleveland. The Tigers lead the Red Sox 11-0 in Detroit. The Nats are trailing the Braves 2-0 in Atlanta. And Pittsburgh leads the Mets 1-0 in New York. So Cardinals kind of hope the Mets come back and win that one. Well, actually, no. We probably want the Pirates to win that one at this point, as they may be out of contention in the division at this point already. First pitch to Donovan is low and away, 1-0. That one missed by a couple feet, so Sanchez still very much struggling to find the zone. We'll see if he can do it here. The 1-0 pitch to Donovan. Right down the middle, chopper to first base. Harper will step on the bag, and there are 2 down now in the 5th, with Nootbaar at third now, and Win at second. So 2 runners in scoring position, and it'll bring up the 4-hitter, Nolan Arenado. Arenado is 0 for 1 with a run scored on a walk earlier in the game. That was last inning. First pitch from Sanchez to Arenado. Sinker inside, popped up. Easy play for Edmundo Sosa. He drifts back and makes the catch, and we're midway through the 5th. Still tied at 1. So 2 runners stranded by the Cardinals. And now Liberatore will go back to work in the bottom half. It'll be Johan Rojas, Trey Turner, and Bryce Harper. So we've already looked at Rojas, but just want to take a better look at the defense. Yeah, his arm value was good. Great sprint speed. He was the fastest player in baseball last season of the qualified runners. And he's right up there this year, just behind, I believe, Victor Scott. Take a quick look. Victor Scott is the fastest player on average in baseball. How does Trey Turner stack up against that? 99th percentile at 29.9. So he's still really a very, very fast runner. Also has 2 outs above average. But his OPS down at 767. Still 4 positive batting runs in value this year. 266 expected batting average, a couple of homers. 9 stolen bases. Last season, he really crushed sinkers. This year, he's also doing well against sinkers. So maybe don't throw him sinkers if you're an opposing pitcher. But if that's your only fastball type pitch, then I guess you have no choice. So here comes Rojas to lead off the 5th in a tie ball game 1-1. First pitch to Rojas is too high, 1-0. One-oh pitch to Rojas is low, but they get the strike call, 1-1. So this umpire has had a little bit of a low strike zone when pitches go down there so far today. We've seen them on both sides called well below the zone. So that is part of the game in this one. Here's the 1-1 from Liberatore to Rojas. Way up and away, 2-1. That ball slipped out of his hands. Definitely wasn't trying to throw it out there. 2-1 pitch to Johan Rojas. In the dirt, 3-1. So Liberatore now struggling to find the zone. Just after Sanchez did the same in the top half of the inning. All right, here's a 3-1 pitch to Rojas. Fastball low and away, fouled off, 3-2. So this will be a big pitch in the game. A leadoff hitter with a chance to reach base, but Liberatore with a chance to get him out. Here's the 3-2 to Johan Rojas, the center fielder for the Phillies. Low and away, fly ball to right field. Walker is there, and there's 1 out in the 5th. So a good comeback there by Liberatore as he approaches his 60th pitch of the game. Still only having allowed the 1 run last inning. And that'll bring up Trey Turner at the top of the Phillies order. First pitch to Turner. Swing and a miss on a curveball below the zone, 0-1. So as we just checked out, Turner still amongst the top fastest players in the league. Rojas is right up there with him, and then Victor Scott on the Cardinals side is up there as well, but he is not playing today. Here's the 0-1 from Liberatore to Turner. Fastball at the top of the zone, fouled back, and it's 0-2 on Turner. Liberatore does his best the second time through the order on average, with a 185 average given up in those plate appearances. But then the third time through the order, he allows a 263 batting average, which is a little bit better. The 0-2 pitch to Trey Turner is a swing and a miss on a curveball in the dirt, and Turner strikes out for the second time today. So he's 1 for 3, but does have 2 strikeouts, and that'll bring up Bryce Harper with 2 outs and nobody on. Harper is 0 for 1 with a walk and a strikeout in this one. Obviously a former league MVP back in 2015 and in 2021. First pitch was a slider below the zone, swing and a miss, 0-1 on Harper. The 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss again on a curveball low and away, 0-2. Harper with an interesting approach. He seems to just be out in front. Here's the 0-2. Slider in the dirt, 1-2. Something interesting I'm noticing is he has something on his batting glove that helps him grip the bat. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Below the zone with the slider, 2-2 on Harper. Up around the thumb, there's something that wraps around the bat and helps him grip it. That's a cool thing to see. The 2-2 pitch to Bryce Harper. Ground ball. Good play by Contreras to first. Flip made to Liberatore, and we're through 5. Still tied at 1 in Philadelphia. We go to the top of the 6th. Who will it be? Let's see. Contreras, Herrera, and Pages. So I guess we could look at, well, I mean, we've already looked at all of them. We could look at some platoon splits. In Wilson Contreras' career. How much better is he against left-handed pitching, if at all? .866 versus .794, so a very dramatic difference there. Very noticeable. In about half as many games, he doesn't hit as many home runs against the lefties. Even on average, but he does hit better with an .866 OPS. We could probably do a similar, well, first of all, let's see if that changes this year. Well, we'll start with last year. Last season, he was better against lefties, but not as much better. .882 OPS against lefties, .837 against righties. Similar trend. He did hit more home runs per plate appearance against lefties than righties this time around, so that's interesting. Either way, still better against left-handed pitching, and he did hit a double already in this game, so you can see that playing out. I wonder if Herrera has shown anything in his career so far. Platoon splits. He's actually been better against righties. .839 OPS against righties, .758 against lefties. So maybe Marmol should take a look at that, as he's been better against lefties. I mean, against righties. So very strange trait for a right-handed hitter. They started Contreras off with a changeup for a strike, 0-1. It's the top of the 6th inning, 1-1 ball game. The 0-1 pitch to Contreras. Right down the middle, fouled back, 0-2. Sanchez on pitch number 83. He's ahead in the count 0-2 on Wilson Contreras. The 0-2 pitch. Sinker outside, still 0-2. Contreras is ready. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Up and in, 1-2 on Contreras. Swing and a miss on a changeup low and away, and down goes Contreras. So, good 1-2 pitch from Sanchez there. He threw a changeup on the outside part of the plate. Contreras chased, and there's one down in the 6th inning. So that will bring up Ivan Herrera, who we just found out is a reverse platoon hitter. Hits the right-handed pitching better. But if you leave it outside, he can still hit homers, as he did this season. Hit 3 home runs in one game against the lefty earlier this year. It is 0-1 right now on Herrera. The 0-1 pitch is a changeup in the dirt, 1-1. The 1-1 from Cristopher Sanchez. Sinker outside, smoke to right field, and gone. Another home run for Herrera. That's his 5th in just 8 games. And another one against the left-handed pitcher, and the Cardinals are up 2-1. Great swing by Herrera. Out of nowhere, he hits it 108 miles an hour at a 20-degree launch angle. And the Cardinals have a 1-run lead in the 6th. We take a look at what happened. He just lets a fastball travel. It's on the outside part of the plate. Barrels it up to right field. And he has that opposite field power. Cardinals lead 2-1. Here's the first pitch to Pages. It's in there for a strike, 0-1. It is so refreshing to get Herrera's bat back in the lineup. And a guy who has reverse platoon splits continues to hit home runs against the lefties. One thing I would want to point out is when a guy has reverse platoon splits, it means he likes the ball away from him usually, because that's where righties' breaking pitches move. So against the lefty, if you leave a fastball away, that's the worst place to put a ball against a reverse platoon hitter. And that's where they put that fastball for Herrera. So he was able to put the barrel on it on the outside part of the plate and give the Cardinals a 1-run lead. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Pages. Outside with the sinker, 2-2. He swung under that one. Probably thought it was going to be the changeup. Two to Pages. Is a changeup outside, fouled back, still 2-2. Pages just slightly above average with 2 strikes with a 176 average in these spots. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss on a changeup below the zone, and down goes Pages. So there's 2 outs now in the 6th. And that will bring up Jordan Walker with 2 outs and nobody on. Walker is 0 for 2 with a strikeout in this one. Has a .506 OPS on the year. And it has not been going well. Here's the first pitch. Strike right at the bottom of the zone with the slider, 0-1. The 0-1 pitch from Sanchez. Swing and a miss again on the changeup, 0-2. And this will likely be the last hitter Sanchez faces if he can record this out. Timeout by Walker. He likes to do that when he goes down 0-2. He digs back in. Here is the 0-2 pitch from Sanchez. Outside 1-2. So Sanchez, he's about to throw his 98th pitch of the game. This will do it for him. He'll go 6 innings. We'll see if he gives up any more to Walker. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss on a changeup low and away, and that is all from Cristopher Sanchez in this one. But the Cardinals did do some damage on a solo shot from Ivan Herrera, and they lead 2-1 midway through the 6th. So Sanchez's book is closed. 6 innings, 2 earned runs. Pretty good outing. That's all you can really ask. That's a 3 ERA start from him. Exactly. So he gave you what you're expected to get out of a starter like him. Hopefully Liberatore can outperform that and shut down the Phillies in the bottom half of the 6th. Liberatore and Sanchez have an exactly even 2.93 ERA, so they've been the same so far this year. Let's see who's due up. It looks like it'll be Schwarber, Castellanos, and Real Muto. So where is Schwarber on all of these lists? Right amongst the best. He's 98th percentile with 18 batting run value. Also 98th in expected WOBA, expected slug, hard hit percentage, and then 95th or higher in exit velocity, bat speed, and walk rate. So he walks a lot, doesn't strike out as much as you'd expect, and has been absolutely crushing the ball. So really, really good DH in Schwarber. 991 OPS on the year. He was pretty similar to this good last season, but the OPS was 140 points lower, so these little percentiles mean a lot. And here we are. Game is already back. First pitch to Schwarber is a swing and a miss on a cutter low and away, 0-1. Second pitch is up and away with the sinker, 1-1. So now we are live. Schwarber is 0-2 in the game today. The 1-1 pitch, low and away, 2-1. One thing to note is Schwarber has not struck out in this one. So when a guy has a reputation as a 3 true outcome guy and he doesn't strike out as much during one of these seasons, that can make a big difference, as the 2-1 pitch is smoked out to center field for a single, and Schwarber continues to rampage the league with another hit. So Schwarber moves to 1-3 on the day, and that'll bring up Nick Castellanos, who is 1-2 with a runner on and nobody out in the 6th. Liberatore is at 72 pitches on the game, and it'll be Castellanos, Real Muto, and Bohm with Schwarber on first. Here is the first pitch to Castellanos. In the dirt, 1-0. The 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss on a fastball right down the middle, 1-1. could not be more in the center of the plate, but that one was a little below middle. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Castellanos. Sinker below the zone, popped up to center field, and it'll drop between Barrero and the second baseman today. That was Donovan. And Schwarber was able to go first to third with a good read on that baseball. So the Phillies now have runners at the corners with nobody out in the 6th. Barrero had a terrible read on that baseball. Took his first step backwards, even though the ball was hit to very shallow center field. And that's what cost him. Schwarber barely able to stay on third base. Arenado trying to tag him out over there, but unable to do so. So runners at the corners with nobody out in the 6th. And that brings up Real Muto. I wouldn't put the infield in here. I would just play the middle infield back. Try to get a ground ball double play. And win this game in the last 3 innings. But I'm not sure if the Cardinals agree with that. Looks like they do. They are playing the middle infield further back. But they are... Yeah, okay, even Arenado is pretty far back. First pitch was a curveball right down the middle. 0-1 on Real Muto. This would be a very big hitter to strike out if you're able to do that, but he has not struck out so far today. Here is the 0-1 pitch. Change up below the zone, fouled off of Pajes. 0-2. So a great job by Liberatore to get ahead of Real Muto. Maybe he could go to the changeup outside here and draw a swing. Another option would maybe be go to a sinker outside and try to sneak it in, but that's very, very risky. The 0-2. A low pitch, ground ball to Arenado. He hesitates, goes to second, and they only get the 1 out. So a fielder's choice for Real Muto, drives in the run, and the game is tied 2-2 in the 6th. I don't think it would have made a difference because Real Muto was really hustling to first base. But if he just goes straight to second, he would have had a much better chance to turn 2. Arenado not having a great day on defense today, but that is all right. Runner on first with 1 out in the 6th. That'll bring up Alec Bohm. First pitch to Bohm. In there for a strike with a 4-seam right at the bottom of the zone. 0-1. So there's 1 on with 1 out for Alec Bohm. He is yet to strike out today. He's had a line out and a ground out. The 0-1 pitch to Bohm. Hard hit ball to right field. That's through for a base hit. They're going to hold the runner at second, and there are runners at first and second with 1 out for Edmundo Sosa. So the Phillies just continue to put the ball in play this inning. Hard hit ball after hard hit ball. We'll see if Liberatore can figure it out against Sosa. Really good approach from Bohm there. He let the ball travel. It was a wide open right side of the infield. He just drove it the other way for a single. Liberatore's at 80 pitches. Cardinals are warming up Kyle Leahy in the bullpen. A very good high ground ball rate, low whip pitcher. And Oliver Marmol will come out to the mound. So with 2 on and 1 out, that might be it for Liberatore today, with Sosa coming up to the plate. Yes, it is. So Liberatore unable to outduel Sanchez, and we go to Kyle Leahy in the 6th. So let's take a look at Leahy's numbers. He's a very, very good reliever. This is very early to see Kyle Leahy come in the game, but it's a high leverage position, so I understand the move. Leahy's whip at 0.63 this season. His pitching value in the 96th percentile with 9 already. And the breaking ball run value is at 8. So Leahy has been incredible. But one thing he doesn't do is strike out a whole lot of hitters. It's 19 strikeouts and 22 in the third innings. That puts him at the 61st percentile. And the ground ball rate at 83rd percentile. Pretty good extension. 84th percentile in fastball velocity. Average exit velo. The fastball 60th at about 95 miles an hour. So Leahy's been very, very, very good this year. Hopefully we can get a good ground ball from him against Sosa or strike out a couple. Just got to prevent these runs from scoring. I'll be back in 1 minute. Actually, I'll stay. Yeah. I don't want to miss this at-bat. So here we go. It will be Edmundo Sosa against Kyle Leahy. Cardinals bullpen was 25th from March 27th to April 23rd, but since April 24th, Cardinals bullpen only has a 2.39 ERA, and Leahy, throughout the whole year, has been one of the best relievers in baseball. Leahy is number 62. He is on the mound now. Ground ball rate at 52.8%. Has allowed 2 home runs this season. But he's still been very, very good. He's played 18 games. Just a 0.63 whip. And instead of Sosa, he will be facing Bryson Stott, the pinch hitter. Coming in to play second base. So Leahy versus Stott. To start off the 7th, here's the first pitch. Low and in with the slider, 1-0. So Stott is hitting at 262 with 3 home runs on the year so far. 721 OPS. The 1-0 pitch from Leahy. A little upstairs, 2-0. Stott sitting at 0.4 WAR on the year. He's been all right this season. It's a 2-0 count with Weston Wilson on deck. Here's the 2-0 pitch to Bryson Stott from Leahy. It is low and in with the slider, 3-0. This is a very interesting position, where you really don't want to walk the bases loaded, but you also don't want to give in with really easy pitches to hit. But here's the 3-0 right down the middle, 3-1. So he did put one in the zone there. Leahy has 2 double plays on 17 opportunities this season. Stott has not grounded into a single double play as the 3-1 pitch comes inside, popped foul, 3-2. Three-two pitch, low and in, fouled off, still 3-2. So that was a self-preserving hack by Stott. It would have been ball 4 if he did not swing, but he did, so we're going to do the 3-2 pitch again. Stott this season has a 29.4% strikeout rate with the full count, and a 154 average in these situations. Here's the 3-2. Fastball right down the middle. High fly ball deep to center field. Barrero is back, makes the catch, and throws it in to Donovan. So the run does not score. Runners are at first and third now, and that will bring up Weston Wilson facing Kyle Leahy. So a very high leverage moment in the game. I don't know if the Cardinals are going to expect Leahy to go back out there. Are they going to pinch hit for Wilson? It looks like they probably did. It will be Max Kepler. So Kepler coming into play in the outfield. He's hitting .233 this year with a .731 OPS. Pedro Pajas has the scouting report for Leahy. So here we go. Two outs, runners at the corners. Kyle Leahy pitching to Max Kepler. This is a righty to lefty matchup here. Here's the pitch to Kepler. Swing and a miss on a curveball below the zone, 0-1. Leahy trying to keep those runs away from the plate. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Kepler. Missed outside with the fastball, 1-1. Kepler this year hitting .233 with 5 home runs, .731 OPS. Puts him right around league average. Donovan playing him to pole, the 1-1 pitch. In there for a strike with a changeup at the top of the zone, 1-2. The 1-2 pitch to Max Kepler. Pulled to the right-hand side, diving stop made by Contreras, and an outstanding play by Contreras ends the inning. So Leahy strands both runners, and we go to the 7th, tied at 2. Great job by Kyle Leahy to get the Cardinals out of that one. And now they get a chance to regain the lead without having surrendered it. It is 2-2. So that'll close the book on the starters. Sanchez went 6 innings for 2 runs. Liberatore went a little less, 5 1/3. Still 2 runs allowed. And that is where we are. Barrero, Nootbaar, and Wynn due up for the Cardinals in the 7th. And now I will be right back. Looks like Matt Strahm is coming into the game for the Phillies. So we can take a look at him. And then we can play the bullpen game later on. Try to figure out who they're going to go to in the later innings. But for right now, here's Strahm. 62nd percentile with 2 pitching runs produced so far this year. Really good expected ERA, sitting at 2.09, but the actual ERA is at 2.87. Good strikeout rate, good walk rate. He has not allowed a barrel this season, a 0 barrel percentage. That's incredible. And the game is back. So it'll be Jose Barrero against Matt Strahm. Strahm's a lefty. Barrero grounds one foul, and it's 0-1. Barrero is 0 for 2 with 2 groundouts in this one. The 0-1 pitch, up and in, fouled back. Still 0-2. Or I guess it is 0-2 now. Barrero hitting 200 on the year. Does have a home run. 717 OPS. That's been coming down over the course of the day after the 2 groundouts. Hopefully he can get another hit here. The 0-2 pitch from Strom. Top of the zone, fouled back. Still 0-2. So good job by Barrero so far. Staying alive. He's been a good surprise for the Cardinals during the injuries. And that's why he still has a roster spot. Here's the 0-2. Just inside, 1-2 on Barrero. The 1-2. Swing and a miss on a fastball way above the zone, and that's a strikeout for Strom. So 1 out. And that'll bring up Lars Nootbaar with nobody on in the 7th. So it's going to be a lefty-lefty matchup here. First pitch to Nootbaar is low and away, 1-0. That was a slider. Good pitch from Strom, but a better take by Nootbaar. Nootbaar is 2 for 3 today. Couple of singles. Hitting .252 now on the year. The 1-0 pitch. Up and in for a strike. That was a fastball, 1-1. One pitch. Hanging breaking ball, but a great sliding catch in right by Castellanos on a drive from Nootbaar. And there are 2 down in the 7th for Mason Wynn. So a nice hit from Nootbaar there, but it just was not in the right direction. It was right at Castellanos, so he was not rewarded. Two outs, nobody on. Here comes Mason Wynn. This will be the 9th pitch of Strom's outing here in the 7th. First pitch to Wynn. He is in there for a strike with the slider. The way the ball travels out of Strom's hands, you'd expect a hitter to be looking for one to be left outside over the plate so he could pull it. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Fastball at the top of the zone, smoked deep to left field, and that ball is gone. A solo home run for Mason Wynn, and the Cardinals take a 3-2 lead. Mason Wynn delivers right when I suggested that a pitch might be left out over the plate. Strom left it right there, and Nootbaar took it from the top of the zone to the left field bleachers, and the Cardinals have the lead. Here comes Brendan Donovan. But first, let's look at this homer. He was just a fastball traveling up. Strom knew it. The second Wynn made contact. He barreled it up and sent it to the left field crowd. First pitch to Donovan missed low, 1-0. So the Cardinals have 2 runs on solo shots today, along with their run that they manufactured. Here's the 1-0 from Strom. Hit the opposite way, hard hit to left, but that one will be caught at the wall by Kepler. And we'll go to the bottom of the 7th, but the Cardinals do lead now 3-2 after a Mason Wynn solo shot. And we'll see who the bullpen could bring for the Cardinals this inning. Cardinals look like they're really having a lot of fun. It's really incredible. Contreras and win. All right, let's see. So Leahy, Rojas. Leahy just pitched. He only threw 11 pitches, but that's not nothing. That's a good amount of pitches. It is Rojas, Turner, and Harper. This is one of those situations where I think you do stick with Leahy. I think you make him face Rojas and Turner, and then you can go to a lefty to face Harper. Because if you have to go to a lefty against Rojas Turner, that could not, that could work out pretty poorly. If you have to go to a different righty, then you'd have to face Harper with that righty. I don't like that either. I think you stick with Leahy. He's your best reliever. Have him get Rojas Turner. And if that works out, then he could probably face Harper. If it doesn't work out, you go to a lefty just for the one out. And then during the inning break, you substitute for that pitcher. So my suggestion is you stick with Leahy here, and then you get the 2 outs, or you get one of the two, and then you go to like someone like Romero just to try to get Harper. Maybe even John King, but I believe King pitched yesterday. So Romero makes a little bit more sense. Also wouldn't mind seeing a guy like Maton, which might be what the Cardinals do here. Looks like Brandon Marsh is going to pinch hit, so it'll be lefty, righty, lefty here. So the entirety of, well, not the entirety, but center field and left field have been replaced by the Phillies during this game to try to get platoon advantages. They're using their whole order. As Leahy is still in the game, I like this move from Marmol. Gets the first pitch strike against Marsh. So it is 0-1 on Marsh. The Cardinals have brought in Victor Scott to play center field. As Marsh fouls one off, it's 0-2. So Scott is just in here because Barrero already hit his last time. And Scott is a better defender in center field. The 0-2 pitch, up and away, 1-2. So I thought Scott was getting the day off, but the Cardinals were just playing for the platoon advantage, which makes sense. Here's the 1-2 from Leahy to Marsh. Swing and a miss on a curveball in the dirt. And Leahy has his first strikeout of the inning. Let's see, that is his second strikeout of the day. No, that's his first strikeout of the day, because he only got two outs last inning. So, yep. First strikeout of the game for Leahy. Here comes Trey Turner with nobody on in the 7th. First pitch from Leahy. In there with the fastball at the bottom of the zone, 0-1. Turner hitting .310 this season. The 0-1 pitch, drive into center field. Scott is back and makes a catch. So the ball finds you in your first inning. That's what happens. They bring Scott out there. The ball finds him in center field. 2 outs, nobody on. And that will bring up Bryce Harper. So this is where you probably go to a new pitcher. But he got both outs, so this is your best reliever. Wouldn't mind seeing him stay in to face Harper. Either way works here. And the Cardinals will stick with Leahy. Here's the first pitch to Bryce. Up and away, ball 1. The 1-0 pitch to Harper is a changeup in the dirt, 2-0. So 2 outs, nobody on, 2-0 on Harper. I think at this point you just have to give in, put one in the zone. Schwarber is on deck. Let's go ahead and throw some strikes. Here's the 2-0. Swing and a miss on a slider at the top of the zone, 2-1 on Bryce Harper. Really good pitch from Leahy there. Here's the 2-1. Swing and a miss on a changeup low and away, and now the count is even, 2-2. That was a very good pitch from Leahy as well. He's worked his way back from 2-0 to 2-2. And here's the 2-2 to Harper. Got him with a slider inside, and Leahy goes 1-2-3 in the 7th. And here come the Cardinals, still leading 3-2, headed to the 8th. It'll be Arenado, Contreras, and Herrera. What a job by Leahy. An inning and 2/3 with nothing given up. He will get the win, and he will deserve it if the Cardinals can hold on to this lead. So Matt Strahm just pitched. He was a lefty. They're definitely not going to stick with a lefty here. So now we can look at the Phillies bullpen, which I'm going to have to pull up. So let's scroll up, click on it, and here we go. Phillies bullpen includes Alvarado, the closer. They actually have all three of these guys listed as shared closers, so Strahm is on that list. You would expect a guy like Romano in this situation. They are down by 1. So it could be Kerkering, it could be Romano. It depends how much they think they can win this game. Because they are trailing, so it's not one of those normal save situations. So I would maybe expect Kerkering. This is the middle of the Cardinal order, 3 righties in a row. So Romano or Kerkering here is what my prediction would be. Kerkering the most likely. We'll have to see. It is going to be Kerkering. So there you go. We now know. I will go ahead and pull up his stats. So that makes a lot of sense. He hasn't been great this year. A 1.6 whip with -3 pitching value. Does have good fastball velo and low exit velocity against, but the peripherals are not that great. He's also walking a lot of hitters. Last season, he walked much fewer. He was really good. So they're looking for him to pull those numbers back in that direction. So here we go. 1-0 on Arenado. He missed with the first pitch. Second pitch is right down the middle with the sinker, 1-1. So let's make sure we're live. The 1-1 pitch is a strike. That was a sinker, low and in. And it's 1-2, and we are live. One-two pitch from Kerkering to Arenado. He is low and away, 2-2. That was a sweeper. Way outside. Arenado is 0 for 2 with a walk in the 4th. Was able to score a run that inning. Prior to the 2 solo shots for the Cardinals, the 2-2 pitch. Sweeper popped up. Harper can make the play, and there's 1 out in the 8th. So that will bring up Wilson Contreras with nobody out. Sorry, nobody on and 1 out in the 8th. Contreras has been good today. Had a double off the wall. He is 1 for 3 with a strikeout. First pitch. Sweeper outside, fouled away, 0-1. So Contreras, he does not like the sweeper. Struggles to hit it. But other than that, he's an excellent ball player. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Kerkering. Fastball up and away for a strike, 0-2. Kerkering's probably going to go back to that sweeper, even if he has to put it in the zone. Here's the 0-2 to Contreras. They go upstairs with the fastball, miss way up high, 1-2. The 1-2 pitch to Contreras is at the corner, but called a ball, 2-2. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Wilson Contreras. Exact same pitch, but that one a little bit lower. Gets the call that time. Strike 3 on Contreras. He deserved to strike out. And here comes Herrera, still leading by 1 run with nobody on and 2 outs. Herrera absolutely launched one to the opposite field last time up. He was a left-handed pitcher. Now he's facing a righty. Here's the pitch. In the dirt, 1-0. As we saw earlier today, Herrera does have reverse splits, so he's better against right-handed pitching. Also leads the majors in fewest plate appearances per home run. But obviously, he's played much less than all the other people on that list. It is 1-1. That was a sweeper right down the middle. 2 outs, nobody on. It's the 8th inning. Cardinals lead 3-2. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Herrera. Sinker low and in, 1-2. The 1-2 pitch to Herrera is a sweeper low and away, 2-2. So when a guy has the numbers that Herrera does in the platoon categories, you'd expect him to want a fastball right down the middle from a right-handed pitcher. So let's see if he can get one here. The 2-2. Sweeper low and away. He pulls it. Turner makes the play, and that's the 3rd out of the 8th. So the Cardinals go down in order in the 8th, but they still lead the game 3-2 as we head to the bottom half. It'll be Schwarber, Castellanos, and Real Muto. So that's lefty, righty, righty. So this looks like a situation where you probably just go to Maton. We can double check. This definitely seems like a Maton situation to me. Maybe Steven Matz. Matz is very experienced against right-handed pitchers as he's been a starter. Sorry, right-handed hitters. He's been a starter for a long time. So you could go to Matz. I would like to see probably Maton. But Maton did pitch yesterday. He's been a little above average. 1.25 whip, 3.38 ERA. 19 strikeouts in 16 innings. That's a really good strikeout rate. Also doesn't walk hitters, gets whiffs, has a good average exit velo. Just a really good pitcher so far this year. Hasn't been quite as good, or last year he wasn't quite as good, but he got better results somehow, so who knows how that happened. I would like to see Maton, but Steven Matz obviously has been excellent this year, and I don't think he pitched yesterday, so would not mind seeing him. He's been excellent as well. 95th percentile with 9 pitching runs. That's incredible. 0.9 whip, 1.35 ERA. So Matz is a guy I would also not mind seeing at all. So can we get Matz or Maton? Actually, I believe they both did pitch yesterday. It's going to be Leahy still, so that's interesting. Grounded foul, 0-1. So Leahy's been excellent. They're sticking with him. This is his 3rd inning of work. That's one way to use a bullpen. Leahy's at 23 pitches so far today. It's 0-1 on Schwarber. The 0-1 pitch. Way outside, 1-1. So they're going to try to use Leahy as the solo bridge from Liberatore to Helsley. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Cut on and missed, 1-2. Schwarber drops his bat in embarrassment at that swing. So Leahy is ahead in the count, 1-2. Schwarber calls time. The 1-2 pitch to Kyle Schwarber. Perfectly placed changeup low and away, but the ump doesn't give him the call. 2-2. Today that's been a strike, but the ump just couldn't pull the trigger. It looked like he wanted to. Here's the 2-2 to Schwarber. Up and away, did not go. 3-2. So now we have a really important pitch in the game. Leadoff hitter in the 8th. Leahy still on the mound facing Schwarber. Let's see if he can get this out. The 3-2 pitch to Kyle Schwarber. Slider away, fouled back, still 3-2. So a good at bat from Schwarber. Probably should have struck out based on that change up low and away, but it was a very close pitch. Tough to get that call. Let's see what Leahy can do here. The 3-2 to Schwarber. Up and in, ground ball to second, and Donovan gets the ground out. So 1 out now, and that'll bring up Castellanos. So Leahy's the guy the Cardinals trusted to get that out. Puts him at 2 full innings of work today, scoreless pitching. And it'll be Castellanos and Real Muto next on the list for the Phillies. First pitch to Castellanos. Low and away with the slider, 1-0. Castellanos has been very good today. He is 2 for 3. Couple of base hits. The 1-0 pitch to Castellanos. Grounded to short. Easy play for Mason Wynn. And there's the second out. So Leahy doing great work. 2 outs in the 8th. And here comes JT Realmuto as the final hitter. So Leahy above 30 pitches here. You wonder if the Cardinals tried to build him up to maybe be a longer reliever, even in close games. That's an incredible asset to have. Here's the pitch to Realmuto. Right in there for a strike. 0-1. Realmuto did hit a double back in the 4th. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss on a slider low and away. 0-2. Leahy's been one of the best pitchers in baseball out of the bullpen. I don't think you would want to stop pitching him out of the bullpen, but you would want to maybe get multiple innings out of him if he can do this. As Helsley will likely be pitching the 9th inning. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Realmuto. Hard hit ball up the middle, and that's going to be a single. Victor Scott had to range over it and grab that one. So 1 on with 2 outs, and that'll bring up Alec Boehm. So here's Boehm. He's 1 for 3 today. He's going to drive one up the middle as well. That's going to be another base hit. So the Phillies now have runners on first and second against Leahy, with Bryson Stott coming up to the plate. So now is where you have righty-lefty. Leahy's thrown a lot of pitches. And Marmol is going to come out to the mound. And they're going to go to the bullpen. They're going to go lefty-lefty against Stott, it looks like. So good job by Leahy. He gave up a few base runners right at the end, but very good outing. Here comes Jojo Romero to face Bryson Stott in the 8th inning. I don't mind this, as Leahy's pitch count was getting pretty high. Obviously, you'd love to see Steven Matz, but he did pitch yesterday. So instead, let's take a look at what JoJo's been up to. Maybe we'll look at a game log as well. His pitching value on the year, not great, -1. The whip at 1.63. But over a full year last year, he was a positive pitcher, a little above average. But the expected ERA was sitting way up at 5.14. And he actually finished with an ERA of 3.36. So the defense was helping him out a lot last season. Did have a very low walk rate, so the ball will have to be put in play. What is this? Oh, okay. So Jojo Romero, let's see. Game logs this season. So he did have a scoreless outing last time against, or no, that was in the first game of the year against Minnesota. Last time out, well, he's on 4 straight scoreless appearances now. Milwaukee, Cincinnati, the Mets, and Washington. So looks like he's doing a little bit better. Hopefully that keeps up. Let's get back to the game. Romero has a 5.40 ERA on the year. It does have a 60% ground ball rate, which is pretty good. And 1 home run allowed. It is Bryson Stott with Real Muto on second. And Bohm on first. First pitch is a sinker up and away for a strike. 0-1. 2 outs, 2 on. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Bryson Stott. Popped up. That was a slider at the bottom of the zone. Nootbaar range is over. And the Cardinals are out of it. So it's still 3-2 Redbirds after 8. And we go to the 9th. Let's see who's due up. It'll be Pages, Walker, and Scott. So 7, 8, 9 in the Cardinal order. So Kerkering pitched last time. It'll be righty, righty, lefty for the Cardinals. Then Nootbaar, but they probably go to a righty or stick with Kerkering here, as it is a 1-run game. So if we look at the options, if they haven't pitched Romano in a while, maybe go to Romano. If they're willing to go multiple innings with Kerkering, I would say that's a no-brainer. I would stick with him. If they are not, then one of these lower guys, Hernandez, Ross, or Walker. Probably Hernandez or Ross. So Romano, Kerkering, Ross, or Hernandez are the 4 that I could see coming in here. It is just Pages, Walker, Scott, so I would just stick with Kerkering if I were them. He threw 15 pitches last inning. But we'll see what they decide to do. Cardinals have had some very well-timed home runs in this game. Although they weren't with base runners on, it was just right when they needed the momentum, they grabbed a home run. And this was a game where they needed homers, and that's what they were doing. Because they have had much fewer action on the base paths. 3 runs on 5 hits for the Cardinals, 2 runs on 9 hits for the Phillies. So here comes the 9th. It'll be Tanner Banks. They're going to go to a left-handed pitcher. I completely disagree with that in theory, as Pages, Walker, and Scott are due up. And Pages and Walker have the responsibility to make them pay for this decision now. So let's see if Pages can help out with that. First pitch from Banks is up and away, 1-0. Pedro Pages is 0 for 3 today. Does have an RBI. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss on a slider right above the zone, 1-1. The 1-1 pitch. Too high once again with the slider, 2-1. Pages has 2 strikeouts, but he was able to ground into a fielder's choice and drive in a run earlier in the game. 2-1 pitch. Grounded the opposite way, but Harper is there. Ground out to first, 1 out in the 9th. So that'll bring up Jordan Walker. Walker is 0 for 3 as well. Also has 2 strikeouts in the game. But he had a line out as well. Here's the pitch. Up and away with the sweeper. 1-0. The 1-0 pitch to Walker is outside again with the changeup. 2-0. Ryan Helsley appears to be getting ready in the Cardinal bullpen. 2-0 pitch. Fastball low and away, driven out to deep right field, but it's going to be caught by Castellanos. So Phillies ballpark playing a little bit of a trick on me there. Didn't look like he got it, but camera angle made it look like that ball might have been traveling, but it was not. 2 outs. Nobody on. Victor Scott now at the plate. It is a lefty-lefty matchup. Here's the pitch. Slider over the middle of the plate, fouled back, 0-1. Victor Scott's been very good this year. 760 OPS, 1.3 WAR. Just 2 home runs in 37 games, though. Swing and a miss on a fastball there, 0-2. Tanner Banks has a 4 ERA on the year. His 10th pitch of the inning coming right now. Here's the 0-2. Low and away with the sweeper, 1-2. The 1-2 pitch from Banks. Driven out to left field, but it's an easy play for Kepler. And he makes the grab, so we go to the bottom of the 9th. The Cardinals lead 3-2. And it will probably be Helsley. And there he goes. It will be Ryan Helsley to try to close this one out against Max Kepler, Brandon Marsh, and then the top of the order with Trey Turner. So Helsley, obviously, he hasn't been fantastic this year. But he is still the guy you trust to finish off these types of games. Looking at 7 saves on the year. He had 49 last season. 14 strikeouts in 14 innings. 98th percentile in fastball velocity. Also does not get barreled very often, but he's walked 15.6% of hitters for a 1.64 whip, which puts him a little bit below average in the percentile rankings as a pitcher. A little above average on the ground ball rate, below average on hard hit percentage among all of the ERA stats. So here's what he did last season. Still got hit hard when he got hit, which makes sense. He has really high velocity, so exit velo will be high. And he also did walk a good number of hitters last season as well, and did not get ground balls. So this season, at the very least, he is getting more ground balls. But you'd rather him get more strikeouts than ground balls and refuse to walk hitters. So hopefully he can figure that out. Either way, he's coming in the game, and this is game on the line. Helsley versus Kepler, Marsh, Turner. Kyle Leahy was fantastic today. 2 1/3. Just 2 hits allowed, 2 strikeouts, and no walks. Both of those hits came in his final inning of work with 2 outs, and then Romero was able to finish it off. So here we go. Ryan Helsley in the game. 9 strikeouts per 9, which is just 1 strikeout per inning so far this year. The whip is pretty high, but hopefully he can settle down. First pitch to Max Kepler. Is in the zone, pulled foul, 0-1. The 0-1 pitch to Kepler. Swing and a miss on a slider low and in, 0-2. Helsley bringing his best stuff here. You wonder if he'll go outside now after attacking Kepler in the first 2 pitches. Here's the 0-2. Slider in the dirt. Kepler went around, and that's the first out of the 9th inning. So a strikeout for Helsley. Good job by him. Perfect slider. Bottom of the zone. Looked like a fastball. He definitely swung. No doubt about that one. So 1 out. Here comes Brandon Marsh. Cardinals trying to hold on to a 1-run lead and shut down the Phillies in the 9th. 1 out. First pitch to Marsh is in there for a strike with the curveball. 0-1. Marsh is 0 for 1 with a strikeout today, back in the 7th. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Marsh. In the dirt with the slider, but he went around, 0-2. So Marsh helped out Helsley a little bit there. That slider was well below the zone. Probably looked like a fastball right out of the hand. And that's what got him chasing. Marsh having a rough year so far. Here's the 0-2 pitch from Ryan Helsley. Missed just outside with the slider, 1-2. Marsh this season hitting .094 with 2 strikes, 48.6% strikeout rate. Here is the 1-2 pitch to Marsh. Got him with the slider on the outside corner. Perfect pitch from Helsley, and there are 2 down in the 9th. Here comes Trey Turner at the top of the Phillies order as the last hope. So 2 down, nobody on. Trey Turner at the plate. He is a career 1 for 4 with a strikeout against Helsley. As Helsley misses low with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, it is 1-0. Turner's also 1 for 4 on the day with 2 strikeouts. Here is the 1-0 pitch from Helsley. Fastball low and away, fouled back off the backstop, 1-1. Timeout was called. Bat Boy had to get some new baseballs for the umpire. So Helsley's going to have to settle in. This will be the 10th pitch of the inning. It's the 1-1 pitch to Trey Turner. Helsley is set. Here's the 1-1. It is in the dirt. 2-1 on Turner. Last thing you want to do here is walk a fast runner like Turner with a guy like Bryce Harper on deck. So I would just try to attack the zone here. When Helsley's not walking people, he is the best pitcher in baseball for at least 1 inning. Here is the 2-1 to Harper. Not Harper, to Turner. Slider low and away. Swung on and missed. It's 2-2. So the game is now on the line. Pitch clock at 2. Here's the pitch. in the dirt with the slider, and it's 3-2 on Trey Turner. So this is a massive, massive pitch. Bryce Harper looming on deck, a full count to Trey Turner. Phillies down to their final strike in the ninth. Ryan Helsley gets set. Here's the 3-2 to Turner. Swung on and driven out to center field. Victor Scott is coming on, but Walker comes in and makes the catch, and the Cardinals win it in the ninth. It is a 3-2 final score. What a game from the Cardinals pitching, and some timely homers from some good players today. Great catch in the outfield as well, showing off the outs above average in right by Jordan Walker there. What a day for the Cardinals pitching and defense. They go Liberatore to Leahy to Romero to Helsley. Just the 2 runs allowed by Liberatore, and they get a 3-2 win that was much needed. That is their 9th win in a row, and they continue to apply pressure to the Cubs, remaining 1 game back of first place, assuming the Cubs close out this 5-0 lead that they have against Miami. What a job by the Cardinals of late, and we will see you guys very soon for another Cardinal Baseball.